The United Kingdom is preparing to take a morally significant and politically complex step, evacuating up to 300 seriously ill and injured children from Gaza for urgent NHS treatment. After months of pressure from campaigners and over 100 MPs, the government is expected to announce a formal plan within weeks, and this will be Britain's most substantial humanitarian intervention in Gaza since the war began in October 2023. Gaza today is the epicentre of malnutrition, siege and trauma. Over 60,000 Palestinians have been killed, many of them children, and UNICEF estimates 320,000 children are at risk of acute malnutrition. Israeli blockades and the collapse of aid delivery have resulted in the deaths of more than 160 children from starvation alone. And in the middle of this horror, medical infrastructure in Gaza has been obliterated and only a trickle of aid is permitted to enter. The UN says 500 to 600 trucks a day are required, barely a fraction arrive. Keir Starmer, under intense domestic and international pressure, declared a few days ago that Britain would begin urgently accelerating efforts to evacuate children from Gaza who need critical and medical assistance. This shows his controversial promise to recognise a Palestinian state by September unless Israel meets ceasefire and governance benchmarks. And Starmer's statement was more than rhetorical. His Health Secretary Wes Streeting, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper and Foreign Secretary David Lammy have coordinated this plan. Lammy, returning from a two-state conference at the UN, called it a moral imperative and also a geopolitical necessity to draw the distinction between the Palestinian people and Hamas. And the scheme will operate alongside Object Pure Hope, a volunteer-led initiative which has so far brought only 3 children to Britain because of the severe bureaucratic and political obstacles. Now up to 300 will be admitted, each accompanied by a parent or guardian and potentially siblings. All entrants will be subject to biometric and security checks. Children are expected to receive care at centres such as Great Ormond Street Hospital, with a focus on trauma surgery, nutritional rehabilitation and genetic or neurological disorders. Some will never return home as their medical needs and the political situation render repatriation impossible. The plan is commendable but fraught with contradictions. It arises as Israel continues to bomb aid convoys, with dozens killed just this weekend while queuing for food, and it contrasts starkly with UK migration policy elsewhere, which remains hostile, particularly towards cross-channel crossings and refugees, and it implicitly recognises the collapse of UN mechanisms, including the sidelining of UNRWA, while quietly endorsing alternative aid routes via Jordan and private NGOs. Moreover, Hamas has insisted it will not disarm until the establishment of a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, and the UK opposes Hamas's rule in Gaza's future, but the humanitarian need now transcends these political stalemates. One of the few children already here, Majd, aged 15, was injured collecting aid when an Israeli tank shell destroyed part of his jaw and leg. He is undergoing surgery in London. His case is not isolated. It's emblematic of the destruction of childhood in Gaza. A boy collecting food for his family ends up mutilated and must be flown across continents for basic survival. Britain's offer to evacuate 300 children is, by any humanitarian standard, welcome, but it's also symbolic. It touches only the edge of a vast humanitarian abyss, and the true test lies not in airlifting the few, but in forcing open the siege, restoring lawful aid flows, rebuilding Gaza's hospitals, and above all, ending a war that continues to starve, to maim, to kill with impunity. This is not a solution, it's a bandage, a noble one, perhaps, but a bandage nevertheless, on a wound that keeps deepening.